machine learning. I will start with giving an overview of online tracking. So essentially, there are two different ways in which online tracking is currently conducted. One is stateful, the other is stateless. So in stateful tracking, a unique identifier about yourself would be kept inside the browser, and as you visit different websites, it will be reported. Whereas in case of stateless tracking, some unique information from the JavaScript APIs inside the browser is combined together to create a unique signature. And there's no need to store that signature inside the browser. It can be computed at runtime and shared with websites. In my internship, I focus on identifying those fingerprinting scripts that do stateless tracking. So modern browsers have a lot of features, and they support a variety of functionality. A website who wants to serve personalized content to a specific location could use the location parameters, or to have dynamic content and use the screen size and render the web page in specific fonts. But these identifiers have a potential to leak a lot about users. You can essentially point to somebody at a specific location and see if they have a specific screen size and what fonts do they have installed, and if they have WebGL support or not. So all these signatures combined together pose a privacy risk, and they have a potential to uniquely identify a user. So considering that privacy concern, industry and research effort have been made to do something about this problem. Those solutions fall under two main categories. One is the restriction of APIs that have potential to uniquely identify a user. And the second one is to block such scripts which serve these type of functionality. So for the first example in which specific APIs are blocked, Tor browser is an example which does like that. In case of Firefox, which uses a list to block these scripts, the main idea is to crawl a large number of websites, run some heuristics on that data, and come up with a list which then is matched with websites in real time, and the fingerprinting scripts are blocked. Those heuristics that the Firefox uses are efficient, but they are not perfect, and they create a lot of problems. This is where I come in, and I'm trying to improve the approach. Example heuristic would be checking if the canvas element, let's say, has a specific width and height, and if it's using a specific number of fonts. So I would design a heuristic that would look for these simple parameters. Since the behavior is so narrowly defined, these heuristics fail at simple variations which scripts could do. They could set 15 pixel instead of 16. And next version, let's say the fingerprinting scripts also improved, right? So with their evolution, heuristics may get outdated. And third, a lot of this functionality has legitimate use cases. Let's say in terms of gaming websites, you may create a bunch of canvas elements which may all have greater than 16 pixels of height and use a lot of fonts. So those heuristics would fail and cause breakage, and they're not good at identifying complex behavior. So the idea here is to generalize those heuristics and make them more flexible so that they can work on identifying different variety of behavior as well as the complex behavior. So we use machine learning to learn all sort of simpler behaviors and essentially generate more flexible heuristics. This slide here discusses the overall approach of what we do. I use OpenWPM for data crawling. It's an open source data collection framework which is developed by my mentor, Steven. I extend that framework and capture a lot of additional APIs, which captures the interaction with the DOM and animation-specific APIs. So after collecting the data, we have a bunch of scripts, but we need to featurize those scripts. And the way we think of to feature those scripts are two different ways. We want to see what syntax they have, how they are syntactically linked, and for that we create abstract syntax tree, which capture the whole syntactic structure and give a tree-like structure for how different statements are linked together. The other way is to execute the script and see how many API calls are being made, and do they have a specific pattern or not. So we execute the scripts and combine both of these information sources together and create feature vectors, which we then label with the existing heuristics. It creates a problem which I will discuss later on, but after labeling the data, we feed the data to our classifier, which is a decision tree in that case, and make a determination whether a script is fingerprinting or non-fingerprinting. So going to the details of static analysis here a bit more. A script, a sample code that is given on the top left corner is translated into a tree-like structure. So you would know there's a for loop which has a specific function call inside it and whatever functionality it has. To basically exhaust all these combinations inside the tree, we consider leaf and parent combination and extract all of these properties. So if you look at on the left corner, I have a statement for MayorText. So it basically is representing that we have a MayorText method in a for loop. But static analysis has two inherent problems. It fails when the script is packed with eval function. So normally, if you look at the statement at the top, it's just a string inside a function. But when this method will be evaluated, it will become a piece of code. So we first unpack this code and then create the representation to address this challenge. The second challenge is the obfuscation and minification. So static analysis relies on the function names or how they're being called, and if there's some variation there, it would fail. So to complement static analysis, we also execute the script and collect its dynamically executed information. So moving on to the dynamic analysis, we execute the scripts and see what arguments are passed to those methods and what values do they return, and then create a feature. So a feature would be value passed to a specific method call or a value return. So an example execution trace and an example feature are given on the left side. But to get that trace, we would need to execute the script and record all the information. So we do that while the page is loading itself. So as the page starts loading, we hook different methods in OpenWPM and record all that information. But with dynamic analysis, we need to execute the code as well. So I mean, just loading the page may not execute the whole functionality. So we generate some synthetic behavior by scrolling through the page or doing some random movements so that the code may execute. And in JavaScript, some methods just wait for some events to trigger, let's say on page load or like on mouse server or something, or they just be waiting for some timeout. So we execute all such event handlers to get the maximum coverage. That's how we collect data. And after collecting the data, as I mentioned before, we use heuristics to label them. But an inherent limitation of those heuristics were that they were limited and they were narrowly designed. So we won't have full coverage. Our ground truth won't be accurate. So we cannot basically say if we have a certain precision, recall, or accuracy, it means something. So we would need to manually verify what our classifier detects. So we do continue with those heuristics with imperfect ground truth, but then we manually analyze the mistakes or disagreements with the ground truth by using our machine learning model, which is trained on decision trees, and with tenfold cross validation. So in total, we crawled 20,000 websites, which have 153,000 distinct scripts, and out of which 900 are labeled by heuristics. So after we trained the classifier, we discovered that only just with static analysis, we are able to discover 150 new scripts, which is like 20% of new discoveries. And with dynamic analysis, we discover 11 new scripts. So both of these features are independently giving us results. We combine the information by taking the union of the results, and they provide complementary information. So in case of obfuscated scripts, they will be captured by dynamic analysis, and in case of scripts that don't execute or we don't have a full coverage for, will be captured by static analysis. But then we'll also have disagreements in which one classifier would say it's a positive, the other one would say it's a negative. We then look at the disagreements and see which one is correct. So before concluding, some key takeaways of what I've done and what are the next steps. So I've extended OpenWPM framework to capture a lot more information, trained a machine learning model to identify fingerprinting scripts, and manually analyzed new detections to evaluate the effectiveness of the classifier. Then the step that's in progress is evaluating or testing the model on a large-scale data set of 100,000 websites. It's currently in progress. And traditionally, scripts have been addressed in a way, the fingerprinting problem has been addressed in a way by blocking those scripts. But we will try restricting access to certain APIs to just those scripts to see how well we're performing. And then we'll analyze how much breakage do we have by this approach. And then the final step would be deployment of filter list in the Firefox. So before concluding, I would like to thank my mentor, Steven, who have been super helpful with the project, and the other people who I've talked to. I've had great feedback from them. And working at Firefox has been a great experience. I've been able to deploy my research on actual world problems, which was kind of impossible from a lab setting. Thank you, and now I would address any questions you guys have.
Catch.
All right. Hi, I have a question. So I know you mentioned the ground truth is basically computed by manual analysis. So would there be any like biases at all?
It's a combination of heuristics. We just consider heuristics initially and then see what do we get. And we see that, okay, lot of detections which classify sales are mistakes. I mean, they don't agree with the heuristics, right? And then we look at what they are. We discover that most of them are actual positives. So with partial ground truth, we are able to detect more things. So that's, I think the main point here is that normally classifiers are evaluated how accurate they are compared to ground truth. But since our ground truth is inaccurate, we have to manually update the ground truth and then evaluate how our classifier is performing.
All right, thanks.
So I was wondering, you said you execute all event handlers, right? Does that include like dynamically generated event handlers?
I haven't tested that specifically, but the way I do is that whatever method registers an event handler, so we've instrumented event handlers. So whenever that method is called, we will capture it. If you define your own event handlers that will trigger that handler, I think it would be captured.
Oh.
But I haven't specifically tested that.
That sounds good.
Out of the 150 new tracking or fingerprinting strips that you found, were there any that were unique, or were they mostly kind of copied from the same code base?
There's a variety of behavior, but most of them are specific to non-fingerprinting scripts, but we have discovered new things and then new ways as well that do fingerprinting.
Interesting.
So, do you make a